Over the next 2 weeks, we will be talking about a biblical character that we don't talk very often about here in church, that being King Saul. I don't know about Elizabeth or Jack or any of the other biblical scholars that we have in the room, but for me, Saul is on the short list of the most influential and yet most ignored characters of the Bible, the entire Bible. Hopefully in these 2 weeks we will learn more about this man. We'll give him the attention he is due and recognize the good and the not so good of this often overlooked giant of the Old Testament. Saul's story actually begins on a rather encouraging note. He was only a young man when God's prophet Samuel anointed him the very first king of Israel. The people had been clamoring for a king for some time. They wanted to be like all the other nations. And so against God's warnings, they got what they asked for. Saul was chosen, and he would go on to reign for roughly 20 years. The Bible tells us that Saul was favored by God. He was well liked by the people. He was a mighty warrior. Wherever he turned, Scripture says he was victorious. When he is first introduced in the Bible, earlier on in 1 Samuel, Saul is described as a handsome young man. There was not a man among all the people of Israel more handsome than Saul, says the Bible. He was head and shoulders above everyone else. Which, by the way, is where that phrase comes from, if you had ever wondered, head and shoulders above the rest. Now, unfortunately for Saul, his hot start doesn't last very long. He loses favor with God for disobedience, for lack of faith. He let his power, his ego, if you will, go to his head. As coincidence would have it, at about the same time that Saul is entering God's doghouse, David appears on the scene. He starts off as one of Saul's assistants. And almost immediately, and somewhat unwittingly, becomes Saul's nemesis. It seems that everything Saul could do, David could do better. Saul was young, but David was younger. Saul was said to be the most handsome, and yet somehow David was even more handsome. David was a talented artist and musician. He was a songwriter. He played the harp. The people of Israel also knew that Saul was a better fighter, or David was a better fighter than Saul. The people would walk around singing this song about how Saul had slayed his thousands, but David had slayed his tens of thousands. And then, of course, you have David's clash with Goliath. It made him a living legend. And from that point on, the star of the show. All of this is to say that by the time we get to our reading for this morning from chapter 20, the writing is on the wall for Saul. Okay? Saul knows that he is on the way out, and David is on the way in. Clearly, Saul was at a crossroads in his life. What does he do now? Now that he is no longer the youngest, the best looking, the most popular, the best at his job, how does he respond to these changes? These new realities of life that he pretty much had no control over. That is the question. You know, in my office posted next to my computer screen, I have a Far Side comic, which I think I took out of a calendar from back in 2001. And it's a drawing of two escalators right next to each other, side by side. And one escalator is clearly going up, and the other escalator is clearly going down. Kind of like what you would find in Macy's or some department store. Anyway, on the escalator that is going up right near the top, as it's ascending into heaven, right, you have an angel with the wings and the halo. He also has this pie splattered all over his face. And then on the escalator that is going down, just as he's about ready to enter into hell, you have a devil with the thorns and the red robe, and he's looking right at you, and he has the biggest grin on his face. Ear to ear, right? I just love it, right? One last spiteful act on his way out. But it always makes me laugh, that cartoon. I guess that's why I've carried it around for 16 years now. And I never thought there was a message there, but you know, in this context, maybe there is. See, how we handle ourselves, even on the way down, does matter. How we handle ourselves when life is not going our way, when we are embarrassed, or defeated, or just flat out wrong, it matters. It was true for Saul with David, and I would say that it is true for us all. One of my favorite authors, theologians, is Franciscan priest Richard Rohr. And he has an interesting take on the subject. He says that all of us, everyone who is fortunate enough to grow old, eventually becomes what he calls an old fool. Now, he's not trying to insult everyone, nor am I. He doesn't mean fool in the sense of stupid. He's using it in a more playful sense. And he's pointing out that with enough time, all of us become diminished according to popular standards. Our youth, our health, our sexual attractiveness, our standing in society, our productivity. Given enough time, we all become one of those old fools that those who are younger and better looking, healthier, sexier, and more productive talk about. It is unavoidable. However, the good news is that we all have a choice, he says, in what kind of old fool we become. We pretty much have three choices. We can become a pathetic old fool. Now, these are the types that deny the reality of what has become of them. Okay, they are in their 70s, their 80s, and yet they are still living like they are in their 30s or 20s or even their teens. Self-centered, immature, materialistic, pathetic, basically. We all know the type. The second option is to become a bitter old fool. Now, these are the types who can admit what has become of them, but they are miserable because of it. They're often angry. Angry at God, angry at their spouse, their kids, their neighbors, angry at immigrants or millennials or whomever, right? Whomever they can find to blame, because they are not what they once were and never will be again. And finally, we have a third option, and this is to become a holy old fool. Okay? These are the ones who accept what has become of them without clinging to the past. They realize that life is not so much about them anymore, but about their children, their grandchildren, future generations. Life is much more about giving than it is receiving. Much more about the spiritual than the material. Holy old fools also accept who they are without bitterness. They have a humble yet confident sense of who they are and who they will always be. They are at peace with themselves because they know that they have an inherent dignity, an inherent love from God that can neither be earned nor lost. To put it another way, you could say that holy old fools have gone and done what Jesus says go into. They have stored up for themselves treasures not on earth but in heaven, where nothing can ruin it, where no one can break in and take it from them. Now, Rohr likes to use this illustration in terms of age, but let's be clear, this happens throughout our lives. Anytime our pride, our ego is put in check, anytime we experience decline or failure, if we pay attention, I think if we're honest, we'll notice that these experiences are rather common. And they happen in big and they happen in small ways. They happen at the workplace. They happen on the freeway. They happen in marriages, in relationships, all the time. Having a bruised ego, feeling diminished, feeling small, feeling threatened. It's unavoidable, really, in life. But even so, we all get to choose what happens next. We become pathetic, bitter, or holy. What we find in this chapter, 1 Samuel 20, is essentially, I would say, Saul making his choice. And Jonathan and David devised this scheme to bring to light Saul's true feelings. A scheme that forces Saul to choose what kind of person he wants to be, what kind of fool he wants to be. Unfortunately, Saul is unable to manage that jealousy that he has inside. His insecurities, his fears. And so he chooses the path of bitterness. You notice he becomes angry and violent. And he plays the blame game. He blames David for threatening his source of control in life. He blames his son Jonathan for being disloyal. He even blames Jonathan's mother, his own wife, just because. I don't know why. Scripture doesn't say, he just does. Now, Saul's life goes on after this incident. He has other adventures and he has other opportunities to change, and we will explore that a bit next week. But for the most part, Saul remains miserable, unwilling to trade his bitterness for holiness. And in the process, it does so much damage. He alienates his own son. He ruins his relationship with God. He causes so much pain and heartache to people around him. All because he chose this way to respond to the realities of life. I came across a Native American parable, and I thought I would use it to try and pull all of this together. It's about an old parent who is teaching his grandson about life. He says to the young boy, "A fight is going on inside of me. It's a terrible fight. And it's between two wolves. One wolf, he says to his grandson, is anger, envy, regret, greed, arrogance, guilt, resentment, inferiority, superiority, pride, jealousy, and ego. The other wolf, he says to his grandson, is good. He is joy, peace, love, hope, kindness, generosity, faith, compassion, and humility. My dear grandson, the same fight is going on inside you and inside every person. My grandson thought about this for a moment and then asked, "Grandfather, which of the two will win?" And the old Cherokee replied, "The one you feed. The one you feed." Friends, how we respond to what I call the realities of life matters. It shapes who we are. It shapes our relationship with God, with our families, with people that we care about. It shapes what kind of example we set for those around us and what kind of legacy we leave. So which wolf will we feed? What type of fool do we want to be? Let us pray. God, as we are left with these questions, as we are left with your word on our hearts this morning, we pray for the willingness to be honest with ourselves and humble, finding our ultimate value in you, and then making choices of grace and love. For our sake, and for the sake of those that you have placed in each of our lives, I pray.